Oh, ho, 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 ho. Hello, friends. Welcome to In My Car on this Monday, May 16th, everybody. Welcome to round two of the NHL Playoffs. Good to be with you. In the Car with Star, presented as always by K-Stop, Gaspar, and Depanneur. And big shout out to my friend Stephen Core and his entire family at Poutineville, Vaudreuil, Dorion. Now closed, but exciting new ventures quickly on the horizon. Look, the Montreal Canadiens are never even sniffed the playoffs this year, but they did get the number one overall pick, so there's something to look forward to. July 7th and 8th, as the NHL draft will be hosted by us. Yes, we, Montrealers, will host the draft July 7th and 8th. Lots of coverage coming up, but clearly, a lot of people in the aftermath of the NHL's first round coming to an end. I mean, that was one of the best weekends in sports I've seen in so long. What up, Gaetan? It's been a minute, right? Hasn't it? Good to be back. The first round of the playoffs started like a dud, but absolutely end with a peak crescendo. How many Game 7s did you guys watch Saturday? We had 3 of them. Saturday we had 2. But ultimately, I want to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs for a second. They're one and done, losing by a goal in a 7th and deciding game to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are looking to three-peat. Your back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Here's a question right off the hop for you. Do you consider the Tampa Bay Lightning a modern-day dynasty? Some disagree. I categorize the Tampa Bay Lightning as a modern-day NHL dynasty. Like, let's go back in the last 5 seasons. In 2018, they finished first with 113 points. The following year, 128 points and another first-place finish. In 2020, they finished third with 92 points. 70 games that year. Then we had the 56-game season where they finished third with 75 points. This year they finished third with 110 points. So yes, while they haven't, ran across the Atlantic Division and ran roughshod over the division, we are talking about a team that has won back-to-back titles. And since 2015, so a stretch of 7 seasons or 6 full seasons, we've seen this team win 2 titles and get to 3 Stanley Cup final appearances. So I'm very comfortable sitting here talking to you today about a modern-day dynasty. And if you actually look up the pure definition of sports dynasty, Merriam-Webster defines it as a prolonged run of success in a season. And with the salary cap and the fact that there are 32 teams in the National Hockey League, and we're talking about one that has won back-to-back titles and has been to 3 finals in 6 seasons, I'm very comfortable sitting here talking to you about a modern-day NHL dynasty. And look, the Toronto Maple Leafs have no reason to hang their heads in shame. This isn't like previous seasons where they're coughing up multiple goal leads down the stretch and losing to the Boston Bruins. No, this is not the case. This is not the case at all. This is not the butt end of jokes that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, who did the heavy lifting? And I understand Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner didn't score in Game 7, a game in which they lost by a goal. But guess what? Nikita Kucherov didn't score for Tampa Bay either. This guy was sick as a dog. Austin Matthews in 7 games had 9 points and 4 goals. Mitch Marner in 7 games had 8 points. Nylander had 7. John Tavares had 6 points and 3 goals and 3 assists. So, like, those guys, the big 4 for Toronto, combined for 12 goals and 30 points in 7 games. Like, I don't know what else you can ask from Toronto. I don't think you're going to look at Jack Campbell and say you're the reason why the Maple Leafs didn't get out of the first round again. You're not going to point the finger at Austin Matthews. The Toronto Maple Leafs owned the puck in the 3rd period of Game 7. They couldn't get a goal. Why? Andrei Vasilevsky, a generational talent, a first-ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt is a difference, and was spectacular for Tampa Bay. Even though, like, you'll look at his save percentage numbers, there are a lot of goalies in the playoffs that had better save percentage numbers than Andrei Vasilevsky, but who cares? When you need a stop, you need a must-make stop. Andrei Vasilevsky, more often than not, is the guy. And did you know that was the first time in 6 closeout games that the opposition scored on him? So, like, when Tampa needs a win, Andrei Vasilevsky locks it down airtight style. So there's no reason on this Monday morning, as proud Montrealers, as diehard fans of the Montreal Canadiens, to sit here and point fingers and laugh at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, what a sad sack of losers. No, not the case at all. And look, I love to laugh at Toronto as much as the next person does. But you have to run this back. You got to run this back next year. And when you look at maybe the biggest separation between what happened in Tampa that allowed them to move on to take on Florida in round 2 versus Toronto, that is 15 days removed from when the Montreal Canadiens season ended. The Maple Leafs are making tea times. What's the difference there? I'll tell you what the difference there is. Depth. Someone like Nick Paul, for example, kicking the puck from his skate to his stick. Who is this guy? Connor McDavid 2.0? I don't think so. But Corey Perry and Colton, we're talking about depth guys for Tampa. When you look at the bottom six for the Tampa Bay Lightning, they scored 8 goals in the last 5 games. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Michael Bunting, the first-line player, had 0 goals in the last 5 games for Toronto. Kerfoot, 0 goals. Jason Spezza, 0 goals. The bottom 6 for Toronto had 2 goals in their last 5 games. And that, my friends, is where the heavy lifting gets done. Because as you know as well as I do, matchups are everything in the NHL playoffs. And Tampa had the better matchups. And so you're going to go into a game. Don't let Austin Matthews beat you. Don't let Nikita Kucherov beat you. Once those guys are on the ice and you have your best players on those guys, what can the depth do? What can the sixth man do? Now you have the answer. So if you're Toronto, no, don't trade Mitch Marner. Don't ship William Nylander out of town. You don't even have to move John Tavares. As a matter of fact, I would ink Jack Campbell to a 5-year contract tomorrow if I could. I like him. I think he can be the goaltender and the difference for Toronto in this series. But maybe you need that Corey Perry type. Maybe you need that Nick Paul type. Like Braden Point goes down with a devastating injury, guys on the bench can't play. Nick Paul steps up. Where was that person for Toronto? Everybody, so it seemed, on Saturday night in Game 7 was looking for Austin Matthews. And they were looking for Austin Matthews. And as hard as they tried and as well as they played, they couldn't beat Andre Vasilevsky because I think Tampa is more experienced, deeper, and more composed. And maybe Toronto will learn something from this. So we'll see. We've seen unbelievable playoffs to end the first round. And look, if you're looking for storylines, right, you have the Florida battle between Tampa Bay and the Lightning. It's the only series, by the way, that is going to have back-to-back games 3 and 4. Very busy traffic today on this street I'm parked at. Hey, I like all the people here. But yeah, you got back-to-back games 3 and 4 going from Tampa Bay, so you know days off. I don't get the back-to-back in the playoffs. Very bizarre to me, but anyways, that's the schedule maker for you. So you got the Battle of the State of Florida. You have the Provincial Battle of Alberta for the first time since 1991, you guys. Edmonton and Alberta meet in the playoffs. How many of you have seen that in your lifetime? I was 13 years old the last time the Alberta teams met in the playoffs, and honestly, who's betting against Connor McDavid in the Stanley Cup playoffs? What an unbelievable talent. He was fantastic for the Oilers, so it'll be fascinating to see what goes on there. You have the heavy-hitting series between Colorado and St. Louis, which should be outstanding. You have the young guns. Where's Freddie Anderson for Carolina? Now that the Boston Bruins have been dispatched in Game 7, we're going to see what the Rangers and Carolina have in store. So you have Hart Trophy candidates still alive in the NHL playoffs, from Igor Shesterkin and the Rangers to Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, you have the unbelievable series that's going to go on now between Florida and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Colorado and St. Louis should be heavy hitting. That's probably the series I'm going to watch the least amount of based on my schedule. So I wish I could watch every minute of every game of the Alberta series. And if you're one of those fans, and I'm not judging you, you know, it is what it is. If you're one of those fans that is curious about either A, the playoffs are better when a Canadian team is playing in it, or B, the playoffs are better when ex-Montreal Canadian players are involved in the playoffs, then this is the playoff round for you. We're going to have a Canadian team in the Stanley Cup semifinal series. We know that much. It's either going to be Edmonton or Calgary. So that's fun if you're a fan of that kind of stuff. And also, you got a bunch of ex-Montreal Canadiens spread across the board, right? Let's see. I wrote this down this morning for the 3-star quiz. You've got Arturi Lehkonen with Colorado. Tyler Toffoli is with Calgary. Brett Kulak is in Edmonton. Ben Sherratt is with the Florida Panthers. Corey Perry is with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jesperi Kotkaniemi is with Carolina. Max Domi, who scored 2 goals against Boston in Game 7, he plays for the Carolina Hurricanes, right? So you've got a bunch. You got a bunch of ex-Montreal Canadiens spread across the board. Personally, I don't really give a shit. about ex-Montreal Canadiens. Jesperi Kotkaniemi is a fourth-line player playing 9 minutes a night. Like, what do I care that he's playing for Carolina in the playoffs? Who cares? A lot of comments coming in. What up, Gaetan? Winning 2 cups is not enough to be talked about as a dynasty. If they win a third, I would say yes. I disagree. I don't understand that. They've won 2 titles in a salary cap era with over 30 teams in the National Hockey League. They've won back-to-back in the salary cap era. And we're talking about a team that has finished no worse than 3rd in their division. They've been to 3 Stanley Cup finals in 6 seasons. My God, what more do you want? What more do we want from these Tampa Bay Lightning? Gaetan again, Nylander cost goals often. Wouldn't you agree? William Nylander, to me, was a beast in Game 7. I am a William Nylander fan. This guy is a gamer. He has selfish tendencies, which I want. I want goals. I need a guy that always isn't going to defer. Like, think back to that Saturday Leafs Lightning game. How often were Leaf players deferring, looking for Austin Matthews? They're looking for 34. I mean, the guy scored 60 goals this season. I get it. But, it goes back to my original point. Toronto needs better depth if they're going to get out of the first round of the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. The NBA playoffs have been fantastic as well. And it's another great week, which features a PGA Tour major championship. It's the PGA at Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we'll have some picks on that. I'll have some baseball picks. The New York Yankees are playing lights out. The Astros had won 11 in a row before losing on Saturday night. So it's been a great, great little run for sports, and we'll be here all summer long, baby. So I hope you enjoyed. Great to be back with you in the car with Star. Brought to you by K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur. You see, the price of gas today was $2.16. It's going to go up to like $2.20 by the end of the month. K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur, not that expensive, my friends. So jump over the Mercier Bridge. Support me. Support my sponsors. K-Stop Gas Bar, Depanneur, Highway 138, right over the Mercier.